Hello again, YouTubers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Board Game Captain.
I'm Lynn.
I'm Alex.
And today we're going to be counting down our top 10 favorite abstract strategy games. Now, the big question I want to ask you guys is, so when I was going through abstract strategy games, of course, there's a lot of classic games in there.
Yeah.
I mean, most abstract strategy games are 100 or more years old. I try to consciously exclude those. There was one I liked so much that had to make it to my list, but I actually kept it down to one classic game. How did you guys do on that?
Well, I realized that I don't really like a lot of abstract strategy games.
Uh-oh.
I got about 6 on my list, and then I had to go online and just look. I went to Board Game Geek, put in the tag abstract, and I went through about 6 pages of games, but I eventually found 4 where I was like, oh, okay, I played that, I like that, I just didn't think of it as abstract.
Okay, so you had to. Okay, so but do you like every one of the games that's on your list? Oh, they
Yeah.
are all ones you at least like.
It's just there were some that I haven't played in a while, and ones that I wasn't sure if they were abstract enough or not.
But they were
then
listed as abstract.
They were listed, so I figured, if it's on there.
So what was?
I had one that was listed as abstract that I was kind of.
But how many classics do you each have?
Classics.
Because I've got one classic on
I
my
don't
list.
know.
That was the question.
Oh, I have one classic.
2-ish, maybe more.
One. Yeah,
I don't know. How long ago was
Hun-
classic?
True classic, yeah.
Well, I'm saying true classic, hundreds of years or more. Like,
Well, I don't know when half these things were invented.
I'm pretty sure you can figure out if something was from like the 1800s
Maybe.
or earlier.
Probably 2 then.
Got to. Okay, I was just curious. All right, so without any further ado, let's get to our lists. Number 10. So, well, we forgot in the beginning to deal out our order, so Lynn, deal out our order.
6.
5.
Winning so far.
Queen.
Oh, so it's going to go Lynn, Alex, me. Interesting. Going to do a wraparound here. So, Lynn, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is the Solitaire Peg Jumping game. It's not pegs on here. I think you're supposed to
Use like checkers on here.
Yeah, checkers, or I think this is like a 10-game set, and it came with like little starry pieces too. I think
he uses the checkers for this.
Checkers
though.
are kind of big for the.
No, but they fit almost perfectly
Okay.
on these. On the checkers on here are small.
They are?
I think he uses the
Okay.
checkers on this one.
Well, anyway.
But you used to have one that was pegs.
Yeah. So yeah, the solitaire peg jumping game.
Which, for those of you who aren't familiar, you cover all the spots but one. There's one that you're not supposed to cover. And then you have to figure out a strategy. It's in my opinion, more of a puzzle than a game, where you literally have to try to get it so that there's only... Because every time you jump a piece, you remove that piece, you have to figure out a way to get it so there's only one piece left on the board, and then that would be how you win. So it is very puzzly. I think it's more of a puzzle than a game, but it is very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very challenging... Now, you've won that.
Is there more than one way of winning it?
Yes.
Well, yeah. But you got to figure out a route so that...
Right.
The real problem is when you leave a piece over to the side...
You can't get back.
Yeah.
that you can't get back to because then you're
Right.
screwed. You're like, yeah, I can't get that.
I think if there's more than one way to win, I think that takes it into game category.
It definitely, I mean, it does feel like a game, but it also, I mean, it is a game. I'm just saying it feels also very much like a brain teaser puzzle.
Yeah, but
So my number 10
Hey,
is Agamemnon.
skip me.
Oh. We'll do it out of order for the first one because that was my bad. It felt like it should go this way.
Yeah.
I apologize. So my number 10 is Agamemnon. It shouldn't be my number 10. It should be Alex's number 10, but I messed that up. So Agamemnon is a weird sort of abstract strategy, almost like a tile placement game where you have a board where you set up lots of, and you can see the board there. You set up pieces that are like rectangles on the board, and each one has different symbols on it, and you win it based on the symbol. Some of them, you have to have the most of your pieces next to them when all the spaces next to them are filled. Others, you have to have the most strength next to them. The different pieces have different strength values. And others, you just have to have a piece with the letter closest to the letter A next to it because some of the pieces get letters on it. And it's a very interesting style of game, and I don't really have anything else that plays quite like this.
No.
Now, Lynn's not a fan.
Lynn doesn't like it. I really like this game. This is a good game. I should have picked it for my number 10.
Did you just forget this existed?
I forgot this game existed. But as soon as he picked it up, I was like,
We haven't played it in a while. Is the problem,
that's
I think.
why I
Yeah.
should have picked it. So for my number 10, I picked Dreamwell. The captain here doesn't really believe that this is a strategy game.
No, I do believe it's a strategy game. I don't believe it's an abstract. The theme is too strong.
Board Game Geek has it as an abstract game.
I think that's because it's representative, I guess. There's a memory and there's some abstract pairing and
moving around in this, but I really like the art in this in this game. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. I really like the physical appearance of a lot of these games, and that has a heavy influence on me. It's very cool artwork. In fact, I think you have some of this hanging up, don't you?
I do have a piece of artwork from this game hanging up over there. I do. Yeah. Now, I love this game. And I mean, you know what? I'm not going to argue if Board Game Geek's got it listed as an abstract. It's just that it feels very thematic to me. But that being said, I suppose you could remove this theme entirely from the game, and it would still work.
Yeah, it'd be the same game. Right?
Mechanically, this is a very tight mechanical game, yes. And it is highly strategic.
Yes,
very much so.
All that being said, I should have picked Agamemnon.
Now, do you like Agamemnon better than Dreamwell?
Yes.
Oh, so that was just a whoop. But you know what? I do really like Dreamwell. I wouldn't have thought of it as an abstract strategy. Number 9. What's your number 9?
My number 9 was one of the ones that was on that list that I didn't think was abstract, but accordingly,
that's highly abstract.
Okay.
Oh yeah, cool.
It's Dominoes.
That's definitely a classic game too. I mean, how do you not know that this is classic?
We got these in Puerto Rico.
Yes,
sweet.
That was a Puerto Rican souvenir.
Yes.
Which was lovely. It was a good souvenir. I like anything I can play a game with as a souvenir is always good. And they're oh my god, are they crazy about their dominoes in Puerto Rico?
Well, my grandpa was really into dominoes, and I used to play with him when I was a little kid.
And that's fair. And you know what? And this is definitely an abstract game. I think it's a little more tactical than it is strategic, but it definitely fits the bill. I mean, this is basically one of, if not the oldest tile-laying abstract strategy games in the world. I mean, I'm trying to think of
Mahjong.
Well, that's not tile-laying. That's more of a set collecting. It's set collecting. So, but yeah, no.
That's a good pick. I wouldn't have thought of that. That's a good pick.
It's a classic game, and it's a good pick.
Yeah.
100%. I would have thought of it, but it wouldn't have made my list because I don't like it. I've played dominoes with you, but I don't like it as much as you do. Is what it comes down to. So pass me.
It's not your turn.
I almost did it again. It's Alex's turn. I keep forgetting. Sorry, Alex.
For my number 9 abstract strategy game, I went with Blockage or Blocus.
I see. You know,
it's pronounced.
I think it's Blocus, but I've even seen some people online try to claim it's a French pronunciation and go Blocu. So I don't know.
It ain't too damn Blocu.
I think Blocus, though. I think Blocus makes sense.
Blocus. So this doesn't get more abstract than this. It's just colored tiles that you. So what is you can touch your own, but they can't.
I mean,
be
you can touch your own
corner, but they can't be parallel.
No, not orthogonally.
That's what it is.
Yeah, you can't touch sides, only corners.
And you just got to keep going.
But you can touch your opponent's sides.
Yes. Well, that's how you do the bloking.
And you have to get the most on the board.
Right. Yeah. But as it gets tighter and tighter, it gets more and more strategic. And
because all the pieces are made to look like Tetris pieces, and the bigger they are, the harder they are to place later on. You want to get all your big stuff out early.
And it's
let's see if we can show the back.
Yeah. In standard fashion, your box is not.
It's an old game. I've had this for a long time, so it's a bit falling
all
apart.
The noises.
Yeah. But you can see there how it's played with placing those out onto the board. But yeah, no, this
very, very fun game. This is like an abstract strategy party game almost because it's really.
Well, it's only up to 4 players.
Right, but it's
and I specifically
really
like
fun.
it. I like it at 2 and I like it at 4.
Yeah.
This is a game that would have been in my top 20 abstract strategy games for sure. Dominoes might not have made it that high, but this would have, and it's
a really fun game. It's a lot of fun.
I really love the puzzly nature. I agree. I really love the puzzly nature.
And it's so.
Pieces. Is that just satisfying?
Quiet.
Oh, okay. My number 9 is a little abstract strategy game that makes you wonder which side you should hold up because of the way the title is done on the box, and that is Religion and Regality. Now, Religion and Regality has a little bit of a pasted-on theme, which goes with the name. And the pasted-on theme is that you are playing out a battle between religious and royal powers for control of a nation. However, that theme is completely pasted on. The game is 100% abstract. You have a set of cards, which are used like tiles in a tile-laying game in a way, and you have a board that is a grid. And you take turns placing your cards, choosing which one you want to place, out on the grid. And the cards have abilities that allow you... Now, when you place your cards, they're facing the right way for you. Mm-hmm. But when you place them, they will allow you to spin a card either diagonal from it or orthogonal to it or sometimes all around it or wherever it might be. And when you spin it, it'll then be facing in your correct direction. And there are two cards, one on either side. One is the cathedral and the other is the castle, which they don't spin anything, but when you place them, once they're on the board, they're immune to being spun. They can never be spun. And the idea is you want to play until the board is full, and once the board is full, whoever has the most cards facing in their direction wins the game. And it's really neat. It's very light. It's like a 5-minute game.
Well, like that.
Is that the correct way?
Yeah, you want it right.
Right, like that? But this is a really neat. It's very abstract. The artwork is really cool.
This sounds cool. I have not played this.
You would like this one actually.
Yeah, it sounds really cool.
Maybe we'll play it later. But that is my number 9, Religion and Regality. Number 8. So, Lynn, what is your number 8?
My number 8 is Stratego.
Very good.
We haven't played this in a really long time, but I remember having fun with, you can set traps or something.
Yeah, the bombs.
And it's always fun when you accidentally use a trap. The
reason we haven't played this in a long time is there's 2 newer games that have replaced this for us, which are Shadows in Kyoto, which you adore, and I've never beaten you at. Mm-hmm. You're really good at the mechanics of these kind of games. And the other one is the card game, Thunder and Lightning.
Yeah.
So both of those kind of replace this for us. But this is a classic, fully abstract strategy game, and it's a good one.
The pictures on the back are amazing. Like, they're just funny.
Well,
it's the 2 kids, like, one's like, "Arr!"
Well, that's what happens with big brand released games. You know, that is what they do. But no, yeah, I grew up playing that.
It's been forever since I played Stratego.
And the thing is, like, you know what? Stratego came out in the 40s, and that was way ahead of its time because it telegraphed a lot of things that were going to be coming in board gaming 30 years later. So, yeah, it was pretty awesome.
I'm realizing how old I'm getting because it's been like 20 years.
Since you played Stratego?
At least. Yeah. Damn it. All right, for my number 9.
8.
I'm sorry, my number 8.
8.
I was so worried about you usurping me.
I didn't usurp you. I didn't do it. I didn't
My number 8 abstract strategy game is...
The king has been dethroned.
The Duke. This makes almost every list that one of us picked this for. Well, it does so many. It was historic.
It's been in a lot. It was in historic. It was in historic.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the favorite games for 3 and 4 players.
That's true. It didn't make that list. It was the captain's number 11 on 3 and 4 players.
No, but it's just we all like this game so much. It's a good game.
It's a very cool game. The way with the movement and the tiles and the way you can move on the board is dictated by what you have. And how you attack is. It is abstract and
it's shown on the tile too, which makes it really cool.
Right, and
did you already show that?
Yeah, all about strategy.
And I love also trying to remember what's on the other side of the tiles
and what you use.
Because you can check your own, but you can't check your opponent's. You're like, oh, if he moves theirs, he can be able to hit me. Ooh, I don't remember.
What is it?
Yeah, no, and this is a brilliant and awesome game. You love.
Yes.
Lynn likes this game more than I do. Mm-hmm. You absolutely adore this. Funny story about the Duke. The Duke is a big part of why I am the Board Game Captain. Because originally, before I made the YouTube channel, my sign-on Board Game Geek was the Duke of Kestrel, which is a reference to BattleTech. So, but based on that, I wanted to keep the name similar. So I was originally going to be the Board Game Duke, forgot this game existed, even though I own it, And then I Google search to be like, okay, is that a name that's already taken? And every time you search the Board Game Duke, all that comes up is
The board game.
the Board Game, the Duke.
It could have been the board game Dookie.
No.
Why does that mean something different?
My number 8 is a game that I'm fairly certain is going to be a 3-way crossover. We'll have to wait and see, but everybody in this group loves Onitama. Also, now, the pieces in this look like little martial artists. However, there are cards, as seen there, which the cards have similar diagrams on them to the diagrams that are on the pieces in the Duke. Right. And each game, you deal out 5 cards, and those are the 5 moves you can make. And you get 2 in front of you, which are the ones you have to choose from to move one of your pieces on your turn. Your opponent has 2 in front of them, and there's 1 in between you. And when you play a card, you take the one in between you, and the card you played goes in between you, and then you're giving that card to your opponent. So it is variable in how it plays based on the deal every time, but once those cards are out, it is a complete information game. Highly strategic.
This is one of those really, really simple games that melts my brain every time we play it.
So good.
That's the reason it's such a good game.
It is.
It takes what, a total of a dozen moving parts.
Yeah, well, it's I was gonna say it's 5 pieces each plus the cards.
Yeah, and
5 cards.
And you're completely invested, and hours have gone by,
and you played it like 8 times.
Right, exactly.
You're a big fan of this one too.
Yes, I do like it.
I am predicting right now. I've not seen their list, but I'm predicting it will be on both of their lists. I think this will be a 3-way crossover. We'll see. Number 7.
So my number 7 has already been mentioned. It's Locust, something else.
Something is?
Bloku. We decided it's Bloku.
No, I thought we decided it was Locust. The debate continues.
Anyway, I like it because it reminds me of Tetris, sort of. Not
It kind of is Tetris, the board game. In a way.
Yeah.
You're fitting them in.
You got that music in your head when you're playing.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. And you see the little Russian dude doing the dance. Yeah.
And I've always been a big fan of Tetris, so I enjoy it.
Yeah, well, it's very puzzly like Tetris. And it really does, to me, I always just, when I'm telling people, I'm like, hey, do you want to try Locust? And they're like, what's it like? And I'm like, I always say it's like Tetris the board game. That's actually how I describe it to people.
Tetris the board game. My number 7 is Zerts. Zerts is in the GIPF
series
family of games.
I have decided to try all of them now. I'm going, because I've liked all the ones we've gotten so far.
Right.
I'm going to collect the whole series.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the ones that you have as well. This one made the list. There might be others. On the list.
Now, I'm kind of curious, because I like this one a lot. This is a great game. I love Zerts.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. It's, again, another one of those really simple. I think that's kind of the theme for me. Is when I think of abstract strategy, I think of a simple setup, simple gameplay and rules, and then an endless amount of variety and thinking to get to the end of the game. So that's what I look for when I think of abstract strategy. That's what I enjoy, and this is one of those games that like just exemplifies what that means. It takes about 20 minutes.
Not even.
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes to play a game.
What's it say on the box?
It says 30 to 60 minutes.
I think it's a lie.
Yeah.
I would say about 15 to 20. Yeah, it's a quick game.
And its age group is from 13 to 99. So
if you turned 100 this year, you're not allowed to play Zerts anymore. I'm sorry.
It's
the rules.
SOL, Grandpa.
It's in the rules. I didn't make the rules. Right. It's just in the rules.
But great game, and there's no board. Everything's in a bag.
It's kind of cool. You make the board every time and then slowly pick it apart, which is kind of neat. That's
what it becomes.
Yeah.
So a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of the GIPF series as well. That's made the list.
Chris Burm.
Burm? Is it Burm?
I think with an M, not
Burm.
Yeah, Chris Burm is a genius. He made the entire GIPF series.
Yes,
brilliant man. So my number 7 is my only ancient game on my list. I tried to keep
ancient is true.
Tried to keep the ancient games off, but this is my favorite classic abstract strategy game, and that is, and I love that I have this nice leather travel set to play, but it is Nine Men's Morris. And now for this version, Nine Men's Morris has been around for over 3,000 years. Dates back to ancient Egypt and ancient Rome when it was very popular. Now, for a game that old, with games that old, there's always lots of variations. And in my variation, it includes dotted lines on the diagonals, which allows you to move diagonally, but not mill diagonally. And this is my favorite version of Nine Men's Morris, and this is the specific version that I'm placing this high on the list, because the original version without the diagonal moves is too restrictive in its movement, and I do not like it anywhere near as much as this, and would not have made my list.
Yeah.
But this one is my favorite of the classic abstract strategy games. I like it better than chess. I like it better than Go. I like it so much that it made my number 7 on my 7 favorite abstract strategy game list. So it even beat out quite a few modern abstract strategies.
It certainly did.
Now,
I've played this. I like this. It's a little... It didn't make my list, but in the infamous words of the captain here, if I'd made a top 20 list, it'd have been on that.
You not so much.
I don't like it.
I was going to say, you just don't... I mean, you have trouble keeping track of all the different sides of the board, so you just did not take to this game. But that's fair. Every game is not for everybody.
I do really like how it's all encompassed in one pouch. That's really cool.
Oh, yeah, this is a great set. I bought it from Eastwind Games, who are a game company that show up to a Renaissance fair in Wisconsin every year. So, number 6.
My number 6 is Koname.
Here, I'll hold that for you.
We usually play it on just a chessboard, but it uses we use glass beads. And,
traditionally uses stones or shells, I think.
Yeah, stones or shells, because it's a Hawaiian game. And I mean, the board you can make the board however big you want. It's just this is handy, but they used to, draw it on rocks or trace it in the sand and just make... The larger the board, I think, the harder it is.
The longer the game, for sure.
Yeah. And the whole board starts filled with stones, except for, the middle.
No, it starts fully filled.
Yeah.
And then to choose players, one person takes one stone each of the two players' colors from the middle, and they hold their hands out, and you pick one, and that's going to be the first player. Yeah. But those stones stay off the board to leave some spaces that you can then jump into.
And then it's actually, I just realized, it's similar to the peg jumping solitaire game, except it's 2 players, and you're trying to be the last person with a move.
Yeah, because if you can't move, you lose.
Yeah. And
you can only move if you can jump.
Yeah. And I'm terrible at it, but I have fun playing it.
This is a very enjoyable game, and this is definitely... how many classics did you say were on your list?
I said 2. I think because I forgot this was on
Oh, so there's more? Okay.
Well, no. It was Stratego, and I was including either Dominoes or Solitaire. I don't know.
So you've got a few. Stratego is a classic, but it's not an ancient game.
Classic board game.
Yeah, Stratego was made in the 40s. This is ancient. This is hundreds of years old. But this is one that if I had made a top 20, it would have been impossible for me to keep a lot of the classic abstracts out of the list, and this would have been in the top 20. I like this game a lot, too. This is a really good game. Have you played Konami?
No.
It's a cool... You should try it.
Cool.
It is a cool one.
All right.
Oh.
For my number 6 classic board game, I'm just going with straight up chess.
Same board.
Same board. It looks like this. Was not developed in Hawaii.
No, India originally.
India, yeah, there you go.
The thing about chess, it's so interesting, is as it's spread, every region of the world has made it a little different.
Mm-hmm. Well, so of course we play with the European version of it with knights and castles and all that. Mm-hmm. So kings and queens.
Which actually, I was reading an article on chess recently, and they said that the names like rook and knight and bishop did not actually become labels for the pieces until it reached Europe, but which is why they're not the names of the pieces in other parts of the world, and also not until I think the 12th century. So it actually took a while.
That makes sense. That's the time period you think about, right?
Yeah.
Think about chess. That's what I think about, at least.
Yes, but it was actually in Europe for a while, and in kind of a situation of flux because people were changing the rules. Because the original version of the rooks from India, I think, only were able to move 2 spaces. They didn't go the whole length of the board.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of weird.
So chess. When I think of abstract strategy games, chess is the first thing I think of. It's the idea to me for abstract strategy. The interactions of I guess relatively large number of pieces, but still not a ton of variation. But the interactions amongst them are what create an infinite number of, or seemingly infinite number of combinations, which require a lot of strategic thinking. for my whole life up till probably a handful of years ago, this would have been the number one game, but I've been introduced to many more, which are actually much more enjoyable than chess. It's still classic, it's still great, but it takes a really long time. And if you are playing against someone who is better than you, you don't have a chance.
Yeah, that is a problem.
That's a problem with chess. Is that if you really have to learn over your lifetime, which is also probably its biggest asset, but
it's also its handicap.
It's so asymmetric if you're playing with somebody who's experienced that you can run into some trouble. But
I think this is the second time chess has made one of your top 10 lists.
Yeah.
I think it was on the top 10 2-player games.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've played this game more than any other game put together.
Well, it makes sense. I've played it hundreds of times too. I mean, growing until more modern abstract games came out, this was one of my go-to abstract games.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you say, it's definitely, I would say it's either number 1 or number 2 in the most widely played board games on the planet.
If it's not number 1,
it's probably number 2.
Number 1 would be Go.
Yeah, I was gonna say because Go is so popular in China and Japan, and their populations are just so large that Go might beat it out. Right. But this would then be number 2 for the most widely played game out there. Yeah.
So chess,
great game. Cannot argue. I cannot argue with the fact that it is a very quality, complete information abstract strategy game. Now my number 6 has been mentioned already. And I'm thinking might be a 3-way crossover too. I'm thinking Lynn is a big fan of this game also. I love how every time a piece moves, what its capabilities are change because it also flips. And they show you right on the pieces what it can do, so it's very easy to reference. But if it's your opponent's piece, they have to wait for it to flip to see what it can do or try to remember.
Mm-hmm. You can't remember.
This is
I can't remember.
They had a bit of randomness in this with the drawing the new pieces from the bag.
Right.
But once they're on the board, it is a thorough abstract strategy game, and though not again because of the randomness, not a complete information abstract strategy. But
and also because of the flipping, it's not complete information.
Well, if you can remember, you would have yes. But yes, you're correct. But you know what? For me, this game is a replacement to chess. This is a game like if I was in the mood to play a game like chess, I'll play this instead.
No. Well, it just does not require the time or practice. Like chess requires practice.
There's still a level of skill at this that would make you much better than your opponent when playing them. Mm-hmm. Lynn is very good at this game and often kicks my ass. That being said, the randomness with the draws can help you out a little bit, even if you're an amateur. And that's, I think, something that makes this a little more approachable than chess.
Yes.
Because anybody can be like, well, I have a chance.
Yeah, approachable is a good word. Yeah, I like that.
Number 5.
My number 5 is Surakarta. It is of questionable origin.
Yes, there is a dispute as to where this game came from.
You made it sound like it's like dirty.
Well, no. So this game is definitely a classic, at least from the 70s.
Yeah.
But there's the person that when they released it, they claimed it was an ancient game from the island of Java.
Yeah.
And yet modern people asking
Javans
around,
don't know. They have no idea what people are talking.
Yeah, they've never heard of it. So there was possibly a bit of fraud in the release of this game to build it up for sales.
Yeah, I got this from Java.
Yeah, it came from the island of Java in Indonesia.
It's a weird place that no one's ever been.
It's like the game stuff and nonsense literally happened. Like some dude just made up a game and said that he found it in Java.
But this is a fun game.
It is. It's a really fun game, and it has a unique way of capturing pieces. You have to make a complete roundabout in the circle to capture a piece. You can't capture one without going through that loop. Mm-hmm. And it's actually really fun to just, zoom the pieces around. You find yourself making little car noises while you're doing it.
You find yourself making little car noises.
I do it, it goes a whoosh.
When you do it?
It's whoosh.
When you do, sir. Now, everyone's played this one.
Yeah.
I would have had this on my top 20. I love this wooden set. Lynn bought me this as a present. And I love this wooden set of it. And Lynn likes this game a lot, too. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's on her list.
This is... The captain likes this so much it hangs on the wall.
Well, it's beautiful.
Yes.
It's so pretty. Do you deny?
Well, I like it.
Do not deny the beauty of my game.
This game is a lot of fun to play, but I found it so incredibly frustrating when you don't see the swoosh coming around and you get nailed like the third loop around. Oh, my God, it's shit. Oh, yeah. It's fun, though. It's a fun game to play.
That's a good one.
right, for my number 5 abstract strategy game, I'm going with Tech. Tech is kind of like it's on a board. It's on a grid board.
Yes.
And you have to create a path from one side to the other using tiles. But they're different shaped tiles.
Yes.
And you can either stand them up or lay them out like pavers on a road. Mm-hmm. And if you stand them up, you've created a wall, and you can't stack on top of that. And you can move stacks, and how you stack and how you move is the strategy of this game. I think I may have won this once, maybe twice.
I'm pretty good at this one.
He's really good at this.
I don't like it.
But
Not surprising.
Yeah, but I think this game's a lot of fun because this is, again, if it hits me right in my wheelhouse of very few pieces, very few rules, massive amounts of strategy.
And this was a game, I bought this because it was based on a game played in one of my favorite fantasy series, is the Kingkiller Chronicles, which are, this specifically shows up in the second book in the Kingkiller Chronicles series, which is called The Wise Man's Fear. Mm. And I love that book. And when I heard they're actually making the game from the book, I was like, I'm going to buy it. I don't even care if it's good or bad. I want to own the game based on that book. But then I bought it, and oh my God, is this game great.
Now, didn't you tell me once that isn't one of these the authors of that book?
Yes, Patrick Rothfuss. He actually was in on the design.
Yeah.
Well, James Ernest is the owner of the game company who came to Patrick Rothfuss and says, I'd like to make that a game. He came to him with a working design for it, and then the two of them worked together and actually made the game. And it's great.
Yeah. This is a lot of fun. Very good two-person game. All right.
So my number 5 is a game I've talked about many times before, and it is Mouse Guard, Swords, and Strongholds. So this is another one based on a work of fiction, in this case a graphic novel, the Mouse Guard series. And in the Mouse Guard series, the mice are shown playing this game in several different issues. Now, putting Mouse Guard on something guarantees that I will buy it.
He's a sucker for the cute mouse.
This is true. I am a sucker for the Mouse Guard. But it wasn't just that. The game itself is really well thought out. Mm-hmm. It adds a bit of randomness with the hand of cards. The cards mixed with a classic style abstract strategy game. Because the game itself feels like a very classic style abstract strategy game with a hand of cards added in. And that's a really unique feeling. It's really kind of cool. And I love this game. I did an episode of the Board Game Crew where we made jokes about this game because I love this game so much. Yes. This was actually one of the very first games I reviewed on the channel. Don't watch that review. It's terrible because it's really old. But I love this game. This is a fantastic game, and that's why it's my number 5.
I agree.
You're not big.
No, I'm not a big fan, but...
You don't hate it. But...
I don't hate it. It's not tack.
Oh. Number 4.
Oh.
My number 4 is Tash Kalar.
What is this?
It is...
I love this game, actually.
There is a theme on it, but it's more abstract strategy than themey, I think.
I think now
you're like two mages and you're summoning these creatures to fight each other.
It's really a pattern forming game, yeah.
Yeah, you have cards in your hand, and if you have your pieces form a certain pattern, you can summon a creature.
This is one I didn't think of as an abstract strategy. I'm not going to give you crap for it because it kind of is.
It is.
And I think if I'd have thought of it as an abstract strategy, it would have made my list.
Yeah.
Huh.
But it was one of those where, like, you forgot Agamemnon. I forgot Tash Kalar, and I love this game. I think Tash Kalar is awesome. The pattern forming is fantastic. Mm-hmm. And one of the other things is this is one of the few abstract strategies where you can play it more than 2 players.
Mm. Oh, yeah. I never noticed. We never played more than 2 players.
Well, I played it 3 players with Paul and Caroline.
Oh, okay.
And it actually plays pretty interestingly that way because there's just more people on the board.
Right. And it's not only your pieces that form the patterns. You can use other people's. Whatever forms the patterns work.
No, I think it does have to be your pieces. I think there's certain cards that make it allow you to use other people's. I think is what it is. But no, this is a really cool one.
Looks cool.
It is a very cool game. And it's one of the interesting things. It's nothing like the cover picture would have you believe.
Yeah.
The cover picture makes it look like it's a combat game of some kind. There's no, it's not combat. It's pattern forming. 100% pattern forming.
No, I'm kind of out.
No, it's good, man. It's good.
All right. My number 4 is Nightmare Chess. I already picked chess as my number 6, but this is different.
It is.
You keep telling yourself that.
No, it's different.
So whereas chess is a
Complete
information, pure abstract strategy game, this is just a gigantic twist on that. This is the original version. This is the one I'm familiar with. I've been playing this for...
I think this is second
edition.
Which came out, or maybe it might be, well, it might be the first English edition because it was originally out in France.
Yeah, this is the one I'm used to playing with. I've been playing this since I was in my probably early 20s. Captain here got the new version that's got all the expansions in it. But this is kind of, when you described Swords and Strongholds as a board game with a hand of cards.
Oh, it is.
That's exactly what this is. The cards change the way the game's played. It can change anything. You turn the board around, and now you have your opponent's pieces.
Even though you need a game of chess to play this game, this does make it a whole different game.
Yes,
because that hand of cards you can do some crazy stuff.
Right, and the artwork is pretty good looking on these cards too.
I think it's gorgeous.
Big,
it really holds up.
Real nice.
They're tarot sized. Right?
Tarot sized cards. Yeah, real fun game to play. And unlike chess, you do not need to be a Bobby Fischer kind of guy to dominate.
No,
you really have to play your cards well, and it changes the game completely.
So, all right, my buddy Caldone, huge chess player. I am often, when I play chess with him, and he just likes to play chess.
He annihilates you.
He destroys me. I'm like a worm in the talon of an eagle. I introduced him to this. He liked it, but I win 4 out of 5 times against him.
There you go. Yeah, totally different. But lots of fun. One of my favorite games of all time.
I like how that changed the dynamic so much. Much.
Inserting complete randomness can do that.
But it's also that I'm really good at those style of games.
Oh, yeah,
and he has trouble anticipating for the cards.
Right.
So my number 4 has already been mentioned. It is TAC. Now, I love the building of the road from one side of the board to the other feels a lot like certain classic abstract strategy games that I'm a big fan of, like Nine Men's Morris, where you're trying to line up pieces. But this adds in also the ability to jump on top of pieces to cover them up, also to set up walls to block your opponent's path, and it's just this is a complete information game, and this is by the very definition, this is a 5 minutes to learn, lifetime to master game, and I love it. So, and everything else you basically covered when you talked about TAC, but definitely a game I agree with you on. Lynn doesn't agree with us on. So, but that is my number 4, and that is TAC. Number 3.
My number 3 is Zerts. This is the only one of the gift project games so far that I really like.
But you love it.
Yeah, there's one I can't keep the name straight. It's really annoying because like the names mean nothing and I don't know which is which.
But the games mean something.
Yeah. But the games.
There is like one that I absolutely hated. The other one was okay, but I really like this one.
Yeah. You asked to bring this one to the coffee house to play.
Yeah.
And we have. We've played it a bunch at the coffee house. This is a fantastic game for a pub or a coffee house for sure.
Yeah, because the game is small and modular, and it's just a bag that you bring.
So are you done?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not your turn.
It's not your turn.
Oh,
yeah.
I keep trying to take Alex's turn.
Yeah,
Sorry,
stop it.
Alex's turn.
This guy. Now my number 3 abstract strategy game is Tama. Yes, it's been said already about how great this is. Another. Duke-like, we compared it, right? But
it's got some similarities for sure, but
just moving the cards around and giving your opponent the same thing you might want to do is it's brilliant. It really is excellent design. It's a lot of fun to play, and you could do like 6 of these games in like an hour and a half.
Because each game is different because of the dull of the cards. It feels totally different. It's like, this game we have the dragon and the ox and the turtle, right. But the next game you have the eel and the snake and the
completely different moves
and the weasel.
The weasel. Everyone loves the weasel. Yeah, Onitama, number 3. I love how the closer we get to our favorite games, the less we talk about them because they've already been discussed.
They've already been talked about, yeah. Well, there's a lot of crossover on this list.
Do not let that fool you. This is a fantastic game.
Well, that's the thing is this list. There's quite a bit of crossover between us on this list, which has been very interesting. Speaking of crossover,
look what happened.
It's a 3-way crossover with Zerts. So now the interesting thing about Zerts is every turn you either place a new piece on the board and take one of the parts of the board off,
which is awesome,
which is so cool, or you get to jump pieces, and when you jump pieces, you get to capture those pieces. You can do multiple jumps. And you have to collect sets of the pieces to be able to win. And it's either, certain numbers of one of the type of pieces or like 3 of each. And it's just, it's brilliant. And these guys already talk about it a bunch. And the only reason I'm not talking about it more is because most of the rest of it's been covered. But I love how the board shrinks while you play it, which is awesome.
That's not a normal thing you find in most any other game.
No,
the board gets smaller
as you play it. It kind of forces you into a corner where you have to be jumping each other.
I recall the first time I played this, I broke my brain with the multiple jumps.
Yeah,
the right angle turn.
It took you a while to get a handle on it. You were like, "Wait, what?"
It was a complete mental block. It was amazing.
But this is one of the games in the Gift series that, in my opinion, was a stroke of absolute brilliance by Chris Byrne. The man is a genius. And this is one that we all obviously agree on. So that is my number 3. And that is Zerts. Number 2.
My number 2 is Onitama. Has already been mentioned a bunch.
And that's 3-way.
Yeah.
3-way.
The third 3-way?
Is it? We had Zerts, Onitama. What was the other one?
Oh, no. Second 3-way.
Second 3-way. This is the second 3-way.
Yeah.
Duke.
No, Lynn hasn't mentioned Duke yet.
Not
yet. Spoilers.
Anyway, I do really like this game. It's fun that it's different every time because of the cards. It's got a nice rollout mat, like a mouse pad mat.
Yeah, it's what do they call it? Neoprene.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's 2 ways to win. I mean, you can either obliterate the person or get your main dude in the other dude's home.
Yeah, it's either get to their master's starting space or capture their master.
Yeah.
Obliteration's the key.
Well, usually when you capture the masters, because you already captured most of their students beforehand.
Yeah.
But no, this is obviously a game we all agree on.
Fantastic
we all very much like that game.
Yeah. For my number 2, I am going with Swords and Strongholds. Again, the captain mentioned this earlier. Part of the Mouse Guard series, or based on the Mouse Guard series. There are 8 pieces and 3 cards.
Yes.
And
yet it feels like
you could play this game in 10 minutes or you can play this game in an hour. It depends on how you approach it and if you have 2 defensive players.
It could take a while.
It could take a while. If somebody's really offensive and the other one's defensive, you got a middle ground. And then if both are offensive and you just destroy each other as fast as possible, it's a 15-minute game. But it's fantastic. It plays really well for as simple as it is, and the strategy is awesome.
There's such a variety of strategies, like you were saying, about being offensive and defensive.
Yeah.
For a game with 4 pieces and 3 cards, oh my god, the variety of things you can do.
Yeah, really cool.
So yeah, that is a great game.
Great game.
Now that was obviously already a crossover with me, and mine is a crossover with Alex. It is Nightmare Chess. Now, this is a game that I also first played years and years ago. This was a game that Alex and I were big fans of before we met, because I played it years and years ago with my brother when I first saw it in a store in my local mall. And this is, we're going back to like the early 90s. It was the first time I bought a copy of Nightmare Chess. This is not that copy. That was the older copy Alex was showing. And Alex had first played it with, again, probably you said late 90s, right? Was the first
late 90s, yeah, late 90s, early 2000s. Introduced by like a friend's older sister. Introduced it to us.
But this is, the adding a hand of cards to chess is such a brilliant idea. And the artwork is gorgeous. What the cards do is amazing, because there are all sorts of cool things. One of my favorite ones is when you get to take one of your pieces and you fire it across the board and it explodes and takes out everything around it. I love that card, because I so often will just be like, And it's brilliant. And this is, you've talked about this very well when you had it on your list. But yeah, this is a fantastic game. Nightmare Chess is my number 2. And now it is time for number 1.
My number 1 is the Duke.
El Duque.
Yeah.
That is our third 3-way cross. I think this list had more crossovers than any other list we have ever done. It had 3 3-way crossovers and many other 2-way crossovers.
Yeah. Pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I think we're in a lot of agreement on one of the best strategies.
Well, it helps that we all played by the rules.
Well, I like the original, the base game, but my favorite is the Robin Hood expansion, mainly because I will buy anything that says Robin Hood.
No, but also the new moves on the Robin Hood tiles are actually quite good, and they make it really asymmetrical.
Yeah, there's a thing with like ransom, like either Marion and Prince John can both get held for ransom, basically. And it's really interesting.
They did some really cool mini expansions.
And they made sure that
it was the Viking one.
For them,
that's a totally different game.
That's a totally different game.
Okay.
No, they did a bunch of little mini expansions. They all just came in a little baggie, and they would turn this into themed like Robin Hood, King Arthur, and they also did
Conan the Barbarian.
They did Conan, but that one wasn't done as well. That expansion was one of the first, and they didn't really have the concrete idea like they did with this. But they did another one
Three
with
Musketeers.
That's it, Three Musketeers.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and the Robin Hood one is my favorite, and they do manage to like he said with the Conan one not so much, but with the subsequent ones they tried to make the moves and rules thematic to what the expansion was.
Well, they did make the Conan moves very thematic. The difference is with the Conan one. It's not just Conan. It's a bunch of different Robert E. Howard characters, and they have these characters that live through all different time periods. And the way it works in Conan is you just lay them out next to the board, and when you get the piece that they represent, you can trade it for the specific piece. But in the other ones, they change the game completely, and one side gets the pieces for Robin Hood and his merry men, while the other side gets the sheriff and Prince John and their pieces. And it becomes a totally different game. So that's why I think the Conan one wasn't... And I love Conan as a theme, but it wasn't done as well.
Yeah, I think in the Robin Hood one, you don't just have one duke. It's the sheriff, Guy of Gisborne, and Prince John are all dukes, and you have to defeat and capture all of them to win if you're Robin Hood.
You start with Guy of Gisborne on the field, though, and if you draw the others, there's a line of succession, basically. Yeah. Prince down to Guy.
Yeah, so it's really interesting.
Cool.
And it's my favorite. Not just because it's Robin Hood, but that does help.
No, but you liked that. You liked that before we got the Robin Hood expansion. Yes. You were a big... We bought the Duke, and you wanted to play that all the time. And then we got the Robin Hood expansion. You liked it even more.
Cool. Good game. Good choice. All right. For my number 1 is another in the GIF series, but this game is Yinch. Yinch is... similar to Zerts in its in its appearance.
It's got rings.
It's got rings and tiles, but the way that the games are played are completely different.
Okay.
This is... It's hard to describe how much fun this game is with basically advanced checkers rules.
No, it's not checkers rules.
You jump to take. You flip over.
There's no taking though, really. You don't capture.
Well,
you jump to flip.
You jump to flip. You take and you remove pieces, your own pieces though, when you make a line of 5. And so the number of pieces is reduced as you go through the game, making it harder to continue jumping or flipping. So that's what I'm saying. It's got the most basic rules, but because of the nature of the game and how you have to string together your colored tiles, how anyone can change the colored tiles, and then how the rings either act as blocking agents, or that's obviously what you have to do to flip the tiles over. And then when you make a line and remove your tiles from the board, you also remove a ring, which gives you less ability to block and make more moves. So the game, as you progress, like Zerts, the board gets smaller, and Yinch, the number of pieces gets smaller as you go.
Okay, I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah, and so as you continue on the game, it gets more and more difficult to enact whatever strategy it is that you're trying to do. And the interplay between that is fantastic. And this is a modern version, in my mind, of what an abstract strategy game should be. It's simple rules, simple pieces, and an unlimited amount of variation, and it's only up to your ability and imagination to make this game what it is. It's fantastic, and it does it the best out of all of these, in my opinion.
I think
That's my number one.
This is the one that I thought was okay.
No, this is the one you didn't like.
Oh, this is the one I hate.
No, the one you thought was okay was Czar.
I don't know.
Czar, which didn't make anyone's list actually, because we were all kind of like I like it, but it wasn't high enough to be on my list.
Okay, the thing is,
this is the one you hated.
Was it?
Yeah, this was the one you really didn't like.
Czar, it's hard to believe that the maker of this and that made Czar. Like
They're
so
different.
They have the same like appearance, kind of ish.
But they're so different.
I,
so different.
I only ever played this in Czar once because I was man one, and I really hated
Yeah,
the
you
other.
this is
So
the one you violently hated.
I don't really remember how to play either of them.
You beat me half to death after playing this because you hated it so much. I was horrible. I was in traction for 6 months. So my number one
look at that.
is Yinch, because I thoroughly agree with Alex, even though Lynn doesn't like this game at all. Now, I can see where Alex is saying about the checker idea because you jump the rings over pieces, but for me, this game really more feels like it's very heavily influenced, in my opinion, one, by the game Othello, because of how you flip the pieces to make them black or white, and that really feels like Othello in the older game Reversi that influenced Othello itself. And then, in addition, this feels a lot like the forming a line games like Nine Men's Morris, because you're flipping the pieces to form a line of 5 in a row of your color. Sure. And yeah, you jump the rings around to do it, and the rings also help you block. But I think that rather than be like, at least in my view, and I could see why you think of the jumping as being like checkers. But for this, I think the mechanics that remind me of Othello and Nine Men's More stand out more for me.
Gotcha. Sure.
And those are two games that I have very fond memories of. I like those games a lot.
That explains a lot why I don't like this.
Because you don't like either of those games. No. But Yinch is a great game. And this is high quality pieces, wonderful play. If you're a fan of either Nine Men's Morris or Othello, or if you're a fan of both, try this game. This game is amazing. And Alex and I have had like gaming marathons of this game. We're just played and played and played and played. This is another one.
In fact, we've never played it just once.
No, it's always
best of 3 at least.
Minimum. And we've had some where we've gone like best of 5 or best of 7. We just keep going because it's so addicting. Lynn will not agree with that statement at all. but Alex and I thoroughly agree on Yinch. So there you have it, though. That being said, Lynn's number one was one that Alex and I both agreed on because it was both on both of our lists. So the number ones were all games that we can definitely recommend to you guys. So Yinch and Duke, very good games. And we had three-way crossovers. So it was the Duke, Onitama, and Zerts. Yes. So all three of those, Duke, Onitama, and Zerts, are ones we can definitely recommend to you as well. So there you go. Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns on this video? Be sure to put it in the comments down below. And tell us in the comments down below, what are your favorite abstract strategy games? And if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see us do more countdowns like it, be sure to give it a like, share this video on all forms of social media, and please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the Board Game Kaptain. That's Captain spelled with a K, on YouTube, and go to my channel and hit that little bell icon so you get alerts every time I upload a new video. And until next time, game on.